Okay! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, twerkers, jerkers, and lurkers, witches, liches, and bitches! It is Johnston Blackhorse, the one and only, back again with another Johnston Blackhorse dewz the drawringz. And it's just me just fucking around with my own personal art. Because I need to, like a few days I realized like I need to take time to like do some personal art. And like little by little, like I'll get like one of my personal projects done. And this is just something I'm working on. Just kind of have just to have fun with it. Because it's like goes along with one of the things I always say, like if I ever became president, I'd become a tyrant. But I'd be a likable tyrant. I'd rule with a gentle iron fist of fury. So like I'm like kicking this idea around of like doing like starting like a new webcomic. I used to have a webcomic like back in the day, but I shut it down because of my bitch of an ex who wanted like nothing, didn't want any of my artwork at all to be on the internets. She didn't want to see hide nor tail of me. And like a fucking doofus, I complied. And I lost so much artwork just giving in to her demands. But after a while, just kind of came to my senses. You know, like, fuck you, you stupid fucking bitch. We had it out on like email. Just like sending it back and forth. And she had this like whole vindictive way about her and just like just riding her high horse and all that shit. And then it was only after she talked to my sisters, like when she just like finally like more or less came to her senses, but it was too goddamn late. And then she agreed to just like fucking go away and on her corner of the internets and just like never bother me again. Like fucking good, man. 'Cause she was a bitch with a capital cunt. All that time just like wasting away in that relationship. Well, because I didn't want to be alone. But that's all said and done. But anyway, this is just like me wanting to just kind of get back into the whole web comic thing and just playing around with this idea of like let's make me president. And there's my Luffer Puff, my darling sweet melody. Eesh, my sweetness, honey kitty. I love her so much. It's like I have no qualms about being like ultra lovey-dovey with her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it's seen as like public displays of affection, but I can't help it. She's just fucking amazing. She is the best soulmate confidant that anyone could ever ask for. And she came along when I just fucking gave up on relationships and figured that I'd be alone for the rest of my life. But here comes Melody, and it just clicked. It was like fucking awesome. There's Melody sticking her tongue out, probably about my whole like lovey-doveyness. It was like, love you know you love it. My darling sweetness, Tootsie Bootsie. I'm like wondering what I want to do in the way of like kind of accentuating the backgrounds and such. Maybe Oh, I should put the stories back on. Let me see. What were we listening to? I think, yeah, we finished Washington D.C. So we're on short rural stories. Rural, rural. That's a weird. That's like one of those words that I have trouble pronouncing. Like horror, rural, rural.
Rural.
It's so weird.
Rural.
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 Sounds. I sound like a friggin' like engine trying to start up. Okay. Back to the stories.
Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
In the country, nice and quiet. Just lie down to sleep. Hear a noticeable sigh. Open eyes. Room is dark. Can't see anything but almost think I make out a dark shape. Sigh sounded close. Definitely came from inside the room. Spooked. Shut my eyes and force myself to sleep. Next night. In bed again. Hear tapping at my window. Open eyes. 3 taps, stop. 3 taps, stop. Happens a few times.
Oh man, I got
Wondering why the dogs aren't reacting. One on the porch, one out back near my room. Hear a deep sigh from outside my window. Similar to night before. Footsteps back away from window. Quiet again. Never happened again.
I had something tapping on my window the other night.
There we go.
I also live out in the middle of nowhere. The nearest neighbor is probably 4 miles down in a valley. My home is also built into the side of the hill. So my bedroom is elevated by columns, and my bedroom window is at least 12 plus feet off the very sloped ground. I mentioned the intense slope because in the absolute off chance someone were to be messing with me, they would not be able to rest a ladder securely on the slope to reach my window. 2:30. Getting ready for bed. My 3 dogs, 2 German Shepherds, 1 Jack Russell Terrier on my bed settling into their spots for the night. My bedroom light is on. I'm sitting on my bed reading. Suddenly tapping from the window across the room from me. Very distinct. Tap, tap, tap. Dogs don't seem to notice. This freaks me out the most. Tap, tap, tap. Reach over and shut off bedroom light. Grab shotgun from next to bed and point tack light through window. See nothing. No one. Nada. Turn off light. Move to window. Shine light down into property. Nothing. Put shotgun away. Lay down wondering WTF. Tap, tap, tap. Decide to go to sleep and deal with it in the morning. Breakfast time. Tell my son what happened previous night. He tells me he's been dealing with the same thing since he moved in with me 4 years ago and just didn't say anything because he didn't want to sound like he didn't appreciate living with me. Father-son bonding moment over low strangeness in my mountain home. If it's ghosts or whatever, I don't really care. It just bothers me that apparently my dogs can't tell me when this thing is around.
That sounds really cozy somehow. Did either of you ever see anything?
I asked him and he said when he first moved here when he was 13 he was exploring around the property. I own 10 acres at the top of a mountain and told me he was chased through the forest by a ghost bear. Leaving the clearing where my house is, there are a lot of trailheads leading into the woods. I haven't even explored most of it. One trailhead in particular is the one that was most used by the previous owner. They bent the smaller trees to create a sort of archway leading into the woods. About 300 meters past the archway is a split in the trail, left or right. The left goes further uphill and doesn't look like it was used much at all. It's barely a trail and you can only tell it is because the trees have been cleared, but everything else is overgrown. The right path goes downhill, is very well traveled and ends at a small level clearing with a meadow in it. Son. 12. Exploring mountaintop. Those left at the path, he didn't know I was considering it off limits at the time. Finds a bunch of cool stuff I hadn't seen yet, the remains of an old cabin, probably 19th century. Timbers are rotted and collapsed but it's obvious it was a cabin. He says that he gets a weird vibe from the cabin, continues on for a while. Gets to another clearing as it were. But not really. All the trees in this clearing had not been cut, but broken at the same level. About 1.5 feet high. I mean snapped and jagged like a hurricane just knocked them all down. But the trees have all been arranged in the center of the clearing into a pentagram. Around this time my son hears something big making noise across the clearing. Looks around, sees what he described as a grizzly bear that was all messed up like someone had hacked at its whole body with a sword. He said he could tell as was bleeding, the cuts looked fresh. Suddenly the thing starts chasing him and he turns to the trail and bolts. He can hear the thing gaining ground on him as he runs his little legs off down the trail. He says he can hear its heavy footsteps and heavy breathing and branches snapping and something's right on his heels. He makes it to the split in the trail and cuts right making his way to the archway. The thing does the same and chases his ass all the way to the archway. By this point he is screaming and bawling and calling for me hauling ass down the trail. I hear him, grab my shotgun and run outside to find him. Just as I get to the archway he comes busting through in the biggest fit of terror I have ever seen and have never seen since. He tells me a bloody bear chased him through the woods. I send my son inside, rack a Sabat slug into my shotgun and proceed with caution through the archway and up the trail to the split. I sense nothing. I don't smell anything. The forest is normal. Normal sounds, no tracks, etc. Go back home and ask son exactly what happened. He fills me in on where he went, what he saw and what came after him. I'm a little mad he went into the woods without telling me and even went into a place we were not familiar with yet, but I let it go. Kinda not believing his story and thinking he just spooked himself or something. I didn't find any evidence of a bear after all. Decide to check it out the next day. Take shotgun and dog, leave a little before 10 a.m. Left the kid at home. Make the left turn at the path. It's not far to the cabin, maybe 700 meters up the trail on the right. Later on I found 2 collapsed mine shafts in the area of the cabin. Think this is cool, but not what I'm here for. Less than 200 meters past the cabin is the clearing he mentioned. Sure enough, it was just as he described. Trees snapped at about 1.5 feet high, all jagged and broken with massive force. And all of them arranged into a pentagram in the center. I snooped around for a while looking for a ghost bear but found no tracks. No bear crap, nothing. Wreck the pentagram, drag as many trees as I can into the woodline until I get tired. Go home without incident. Since living here I have seen and heard something large in the woods when I'm out doing things. It's always a big shadow out of the corner of my eye. I've lived here for 15 years and it's happened maybe 3 dozen times. It happens most often when I am down by the creek. I see it across the water. I have asked my son and he says he's never seen anything like it, but he has seen
Yes,
the orb.
I am drawing
Silver
myself.
orb with bright baby blue aura can be seen sometimes floating through the woods. Usually comes down from above the treetops and just kinda moves through the trees. Although we can see it lighting up through the trees, it casts 0 ambient light. I and a friend have tried to photograph it multiple times, but the images just come out black. That and the tapping on the window are the only spooks I've had to deal with out here.
Guess I should post my own story. Happened in 2020. Finally taking my fiancée to meet my family in rural America. All goes well. My family loves her and loves being around her. Show her all the cool places around the property. Stay out a little too late after overshooting my way back home. We both pop out near the gravel road. And I suddenly feel incensed to talk about skinwalkers. Not a super spiritual person myself. But my fiancé can be. Slip up and audibly refer to wendigos as we start walking back home. It was our last night. So we had supper, watched some Hunter x Hunter, and went on a late night 2 a.m. walk. at the edge of the property near the old barn. There's a dilapidated bridge, barely functional, but works well enough. As soon as we cross the bridge, it starts to rain. Very light rain, but cold for October. Press on anyway. But both of us start to notice whispering, catch glimpses of things in our peripheral. No big deal, it's just the woods at night. The rain picks up. We decide to turn back and get some heavier clothing. As we cross the bridge on the way back, my fiance and I both feel a presence. It spooks us both. Enough so that I slow our walking pace and turn to look behind us, walking backwards. We clear the bridge. At this point, my fiance turns around and sees what I'm not sure I'm really seeing. A white-skinned figure with skin stretched over the bone, standing taller than a bear. We both verbally confirm what we saw. And as we do, the tall grass near the bridge starts to part, as if something is heading towards us from it. The pale creature from the bridge is nowhere to be seen. Panic starts to kick in. I do my best and steel myself and keep moving backwards whilst keeping my eyes on the road behind us. My fiance panics and grabs me, trying to pull me along as she runs. Causes me to stumble, temporarily scaring me witless. I grab her and force her to walk back home with me. Slowly, we go to sleep that night after covering all the windows.
Nothing ever happens to me, so I only have one story. Kids spend the summers with dad's side of the family because parents are divorced, spend most days at the beach, don't really like it, would rather be playing on GBA or reading a book. Unfortunately, family always hogs the shade and GBA would get ruined at the beach. Reading in the sun means cooking alive. Swimming is the only choice. Sea is usually calm. Paddling along while avoiding algae and jellyfish gets boring fast. Sometimes it gets rougher. And it's fun swimming out and letting the waves carry me back to shore. Not allowed to do it unsupervised. Though go to the beach one day, sea is really rough, huge waves crashing into the beach, which means no unsupervised swimming. Hot as hell too. Family quickly hogs the shade. I get sunburnt within the hour. They're all asleep and the sunburn is smarting. Decide screw it. I'll go to the sea to cool off a bit. Start swimming out and letting the waves carry to shore. Waves are really strong. Get carried really fast. It's fun. Boy, decide to stay. Possibility of punishment forgotten. Find another kid my age doing the same thing. We start racing each other, trying to catch the biggest waves, trying to grab each other, etc. Hours pass, sun is high in the sky. Start getting hungry, tell him I want to go back. Suddenly notice the shore is really far too. Keeps asking me to keep playing as I try to swim back. Keep getting rocked back and forth to the same spot by the waves. Get scared. Sea is getting rougher and the shore is getting farther and farther away. He keeps asking to continue playing. Snap at him that we need to get back. He just shrugs and keeps playing, getting farther and farther away. Try to keep up with him but the waves are too strong. Lose sight of him. Eventually a surfer finds me and brings me to shore. Family asks where I've been. I ask how they didn't notice I was gone for hours. Tell me it's been an hour and a half since we've arrived.
Not the greatest, but I'll give this a shot. Be about 10 or 11. Recently moved from crowded suburbs to a neighborhood under development. It's 2003, so new neighborhood are going up like crazy. One of the only houses on the street. The furthest part of the city developed this far southwest. Literally nothing but corn and soybean fields for miles to the southwest. Bathroom on the second floor for my younger brothers and I is the only room in the house without a window. Never really liked that room. Always had on off vibe to it. Get up late one night to take a piss. It's one of those weird bathrooms where the shitter and the shower and in a separate doored off room than the sink and linen closet. Washing hands when I hear the toilet seat slam shut. Nope.png. Try to sleep. Explain it off as if maybe I bumped it off place somehow even though the door between me and the toilet was closed. Forget about it for a year or so until I'm taking a shower after a baseball game or something. Hear a massive slam and what sounds like the trash bag rustling. Pissed off, about to jump out of the shower naked to beat my brother and give him an atomic wedgie off of the top of door frame. Rip the shower curtain aside. Room's empty. Door hasn't been opened or closed. Literally no room for anything to be hidden in the room. Check behind the toilet for the cat maybe. Nothing. Dry off without even washing all of the soap off of me and watch TV in my room. Another few years go by. Forget about haunted toilets because why would a house that's 4 years old max be haunted? Walk past the bathroom to the bedroom in the middle of night. Hear the clear plastic on porcelain noise of the toilet seat slamming and a pound on the door. Lights are off and parents are asleep. Pissed because it's probably my younger brother messing with me. Quickly position drawers of the linen closet in a way that the door can't be opened. Used to trap him in there that way. Wait for yells for me to let him out. Nothing. Check his room. He's sleeping. Remember weird things from the past. Basement bathroom gets finished before the new bedroom, and I instantly start using that on exclusively. Fast forward about 15 years hanging out with brother smoking mints. Bathroom upstairs gets brought up. Brother said he hated that bathroom because the toilet seat was always scathing down on its own. Holy hell, I didn't tell anyone about my haunted toilet experience. We talk about it for a bit. He swears he was in there after a shower, and from the vent he hears something say in a quiet but raspy voice,
I'm not Satan.
He starts using the basement bathroom exclusively after that. I had already
Not
moved out of
Satan.
my parents' house by then. Parents still live there. Still don't use that bathroom. TLDR haunted toilet.
Some OC. Not the spookiest, but it scared me. Be me, United States Air Force Academy cadet. Have trail and woods to south of cadet area I frequented. Usually go out there with book. Decide to go out there one weekend. Snow on ground from earlier that week. In full operational camouflage pattern uniform because freshman hazing rules. Already evening when I start. Walk out is completely uneventful. Lose track of time and it gets dark. Begin hour-long trek back to dorm. Emerge from one part of woods. Cross dirt road and back into woods. Begin to have feeling of dread about area ahead. Press through anyway. Pull out phone and start blaring Toho music. I'm A/JP/Anon. Sue me. Walk down secluded trail into small valley. Feeling is stronger than ever. Nose is stuffed, but smells something slightly damp. Sense presence is to my left, in a cluster of trees. Everything telling me to get out. Decide not to run in case that causes it to come for me. Start praying and invoking names of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Start walking out of valley. Feeling subsides. Make it back to dorm without further incident. I have not gone back there yet. It was a nice weekend getaway too. Posting using mobile data because Department of Defense Wi-Fi blocks 4chan.
Alright, OC time. I'll start with the disclaimer that it's super anticlimactic. But it is paranormal. Sort of. Be me, Catholic. Adult but live with parents. Parents hear about a lady at our church who runs sort of an amateur shrine to a saint. She's known as sincere but a little eccentric. Clergy keep her at arm's length. Claims to have a miraculous portrait of the saint. Recently, a well-regarded parishioner says she was healed by the saint's intercession via the portrait. Shortly after that, my parents run into the shrine lady and she convinces them to visit. Day of visit, we're nervous. Not sure what to expect, since skepticism is the natural
There you are. My dogs were making like my dogs. They're not my dogs. The dogs were making some weird noises. So I was wondering if they were wanting to go outside to relieve themselves, but they're just scratching. One of them's just nibbling at its butt. Anyway.
response. But anyone who says they don't want to see a miracle or get healed is lying. Get there. House is relatively normal looking. Have to take shoes off. House is filled with religious pictures and statues. Looks like either a church gift shop or someone tried to vampire-proof the place. Center is the portrait of the saint. We all talk for a while about the history of the place. Say a few prayers. The healed lady is there and talks about her experience. Note that at no point did anyone ask for money or anything like that. If this were some kind of scam, it would be a lot easier to explain, honestly. The lady says that if you put your hands on the portrait you can feel some kind of energy coming off of it. We put our hands on it. Totally feel some kind of energy. Skeptic brain kicks in. It could be an electrode behind the canvas. No way to tactfully investigate. Go back to talking, and checked out to Sue. Start looking around the room. Make eye contact with a surprisingly vivid portrait of Mary. It looks almost 3D. Keep looking around. Now all of the portraits look 3D. Don't say anything, but probably looking around a little weirdly. Effect goes away after a while. I know what you're thinking, but they hadn't given us anything to eat or drink. Don't bring the 3D effect up, despite talking to someone who is probably the most credulous person in miles. Eventually the conversation peters out and we leave. On the ride home, parents and I discuss what we thought. We're not sure what to think. Very strange experience, but we're none the worse for it. So there you have it.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story,
Yes! Childhood ghost stories.
Laying in my bed watching TV on a small box TV. Look out the window and see 5 children playing jump rope in my front yard right next to my window. They are all black and white, like they were straight out of the Andy Griffith Show, dressed in 50s and 60s children attire. One of the boys closes to my window, notices me looking at them. Everyone else stops and stares at me. They all scowl and don't break eye contact. Me being the social butterfly I am, hop out of bed and try to go play with them. Get to the front yard, look around and no one is there. Go back inside and cry because I wanted to play jump rope with the black and white 50s ghost children.
I have a similar experience, as if the person was black and white and dressed as Charlie Chaplin. It may have been him for all I know. Be 4 or 5. Wake at night. Dark and scary, so run to mom and dad's room. Crawl into bed and go to sleep. Wake up again later. Look up next to me. Sitting on the bedside drawer is Charlie Chaplin. He's looking down at me. Wasn't scary or creepy, but had an overwhelming feeling of safety and comfort. Went back to sleep. Convinced to this day it was my guardian angel.
Be 8 or 9. The old house I used to live in had 2 bedrooms upstairs. One was mine and another was the guest room. Both were connected by a long hallway bathroom that, if the doors on both sides were open, would let you see from one room to the other. Sleeping in the guest bedroom one night just because I felt like it. Wake up in the middle of the night facing the open bathroom. At the far end of the bathroom is a floating white figure, looking like a stereotypical sheet ghost, only without eye holes. As I'm looking at it, it starts to float slowly towards me. In the dark it is bright white. Lose my mind, but am too afraid to get up or call out for my parents out of fear that once I do it will know I'm awake and chase me or something.
They spell that right.
Close my eyes and wait for death. Nothing happens.
Okay.
Open them again, the ghost is where it was when I last closed my eyes, and when I look at it again it starts to float towards me once more. Repeat a couple of times until it reaches the bathroom door right outside the guest room. Close eyes and turn over, feel like it's right next to my bed looking down at me. Go back to sleep until morning. Still scared. Looking back on it now, it was probably just sleep paralysis, but I've heard others talk about dark shadow people coming out during that. What I saw was bright, vibrant white and sort of glowing.
I went to middle and high school in this tiny Texas town that had more fields than buildings. It was a really spread out town with nothing but cows and old decrepit houses. Only had 1 gas station, school district, and like 3 restaurants. I lived out in a kinda old house pretty far from the school, meaning there were a lot of fields I could just kinda walk in. I'd walk to old abandoned houses and stuff just to kinda explore and see. I was a dumb teenager and it seemed like a smart idea. I took a big stick with me and naturally that was enough. I had a house I really liked because it had tons of bees in it. They had made the walls into their hive and it was really cool. It also had some books, mostly history textbooks for some reason, and a ton of burnt out candles and old dried, torn towels. I took a friend out with me once to show him the bee house, and I noticed that for once, some of the stuff was moved around. I wasn't too spooked. We had a lot of immigrants from Mexico pass through, so I figured it was just that. But it felt weird. The candles were picked up and moved to another room as if they were all just thrown in the corner. The bees had also moved. I was just in there a few days ago. But I realized then that the bees were never in the same room as the candles. Might have been that they didn't like the smoke or whatever. There were a few spiral notebooks now, with some blood and feces on them, and they just said riser over and over again in some. And mine beyond, there were a few shovels that I don't think were there before. As much as I loved the bees, I didn't go back there. For some reason, this spooked me. My friend stole a history book from there, and I remember he showed me that several pages had X's crossing out historical events. I didn't like that he took the book and asked that he put it back. But he said he burned it in his fire pit. I do remember that we had some bees make a hive near our house some months after that.
This happened when I was elementary school age or near that. Be me playing in my room. Him standing up and I'm just 2 meters or less away from my room door. I hear knocking on one of glass part the door has. Now the door has glass parts but you can't really see through them, and the hallway connecting my room to other rooms was dark. I happily run to my door and open it expecting to see my dad because he does that sometimes. Hallway is empty. Oh shit. This hallway is like 7 meters long from my room to living room, and when my dad or my mom walks there I can easily hear them walking because it echoes a little bit. There was no sound this time. Scared, I run to the living room. I open the door and see everyone just chilling on the couches. Doors are old and wooden with metal doorknobs, and one to the living room makes this screeching sound every time you open it. I didn't hear that as well, and it was closed. I don't say anything so they don't think it.
Hold on, I gotta see what these dogs are barking at. Huh, Hershey. Huh, Hershey. You see what they're barking at. You wanna go outside, Hershey? You wanna go outside? Yeah? Okay, one at a time. No. They're just barking at some horses. They're just barking at some horses. Okay.
I'm autistic. My big bro was also with us, but he was also chilling in the living room. If it was one of them, they must have passed that hallway faster than me reaching my door and getting into the living room without making any sound, which is impossible in my eyes.
Like,
Another one from
how do I
preschool
use one
age.
of these?
Me and my cousin playing
Do I
in
just
my
drag
home.
and drop?
No parents present. Maybe my grandmother was there, not sure. Doorbell rings and we both run to the door.
Uh-oh.
Parents say never open door without asking who it.
That's my push-up alarm. Time for some push-ups. Oh shoot. I missed a call 52 minutes ago. Damn it. Oh wait, no, this I think this is from Yeah. I was helping my mom and she accidentally dialed my number when I was helping her with stuff. Okay, push-ups. How does my physique look now? Ooh, look at them pectorals. Of course, I still have like some man boobage. Got some tight muscle under there. I can feel it, but I still got these fatty man boobs. Okay. Push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, that's enough of that. Thank you, love. She says, it's looking good, dude. I think she's referring to my art and not my impressive pectorals. Okay, how do I apply this? Do I drag and drop? Oh, shit. Oh, ho, ho. Would you look at that? Fucking kick ass, yo. Okay. Shut up, dogs. Okay, let me try this again. But let's... be a little more precise. Hello, what manner of arachnid are you? Shit, where's my fucking flashlight? Oh, it's right here. Is that... Okay, that's not a normal spider. Oh yeah, fucking the stories.
Is there first while they are not around. Screw that, I open it. At this time there was no sensor lights in our apartment and we are the first floor. It is dark but I catch a glimpse of an hunchback figure going downstairs. We yell, who is this? No answer. We run to balcony to see who is gonna come out from apartment. No one there. Whole street is empty and it is a long linear street, so there is nowhere to hide. It might be a homeless man or something and just hid in the apartment instead of going out.
9 or 10 years old. Cousin always visits since I'm his only friend and vice versa. It was the middle of the afternoon. My parents were working, so we were alone, playing video. Hear some steps going down in the kitchen, so we go check it out. The faucet was open. Close it and head back to my room. Shortly after, we hear footsteps just outside the room. At the hall, the living room TV turns on the highest volume possible. Too scared to move at this point. Eventually, we decide to man up and run through the apartment and go to our grandma's house. And so we did. As I was locking the main building's door, I look back at the direction of my apartment. Remember like it was yesterday. Seeing a little girl, frowning, kind of hiding behind the corner of the wall. Had pale skin, short channel black hair, a little ribbon onto it, and she wore a cute little white dress. She looked sad but puts her palm up, as if saying hello. Freeze to my knees and run to Nana's place. A few years later, I had another experience with whom I believe was the very same little girl. After that, I dream about her from time to time. She never said a word in those dreams but always smiles and plays about. She even gave me a flower once just before I woke up. Can say she is my second oldest friend. That is, if I'm not a schizo.
Not really that creepy, but it scared the life out of me at the time. Be me 15 at the time. Live in a fairly new house on old land. The little sister whose room is adjacent to mine always says there's a ghost in her closet, but I chalk it up to her being an idiot. One night I'm trying to go to sleep and the room was pitch black. Notice a light going up and down inside of my closet as if someone's inside shining a flashlight on the cracks of the door from the inside. The closet is tiny on the inside and there's no way anyone in my family could have gotten in. Try to tell myself it's just reflections from the car lights outside, but then I realized there was no way it was possible with my curtains. Basically just lay there and crap myself because I'm too scared to check inside closet. It happens every so often, always when I'm laying in bed. Ignore and go to sleep every time I see it because it's not my problem.
Be me, 16, 2006. Mom homeschools me and sister. Also babysits my cousin's daughter. During our lunch break, we're sitting in the living room watching TV. Cousins goes down the hallway towards the laundry room. Me and sister hear her talking to someone. Our grandparents live next door, so maybe grandma needed something. Mom goes to check and see. Me and sis go too. Cousin is by herself. Even though we 100% heard an older woman's voice. Mom asks her who she was talking to.
A lady named Sue.
No one in our family is named Sue. Mom asks her where Sue went. The girl points at the floor.
She's hiding.
Everyone is very weirded out at this point and getting chills. Mom decides to have us get our shoes and jackets and go over to Grandma's house for a while. Cousin's daughter is standing with her back to the hallway waiting for us to finish putting on our shoes. All of a sudden, the little girl drops to the floor. Like her legs got kicked out from under her. Starts being drugged by her hair down the hallway. Kicking, flailing, and screaming. Mom runs after her shouting, "Get away from her." Mom grabs her, and we book it out of the house. The house was rebuilt around 2003. And for about 10 years, the hallway gave off this very unsettling, claustrophobic vibe. We hated going down the hallway at night. It also felt like something was right behind us. I've had a lot of other experiences in this house too. But it seems to have calmed down a lot in the last 5 or 6 years.
Sitting downstairs watching TV. Hear sister shout my name from upstairs. Call out to let her know I'm downstairs. She runs down screaming, saying I was sitting on my bed in my room just staring at the floor. Few years later, after me and sis swapped bedrooms. Go to walk downstairs. See sister sitting on her bed. Speak to her, she doesn't look up from the floor. Go downstairs. Actual sister is in the kitchen. That house was haunted for real, and that room in particular was off the charts freaky energy.
While growing up, I had a couple of weird, random experiences I could never really explain. Sure, you could say it was just a kid's imagination, but the fact that they were random and sometimes recurring makes it seem like strange things for a kid to just imagine. The basement was dangerous sometimes. As soon as I'd step off the stairs, I'd get an uneasy feeling. The type of feeling you get when you're somewhere you know you're not supposed to be. Suddenly feel like I'm being watched and feels like someone or something is right behind me. Fight the feeling enough to grab clothes. Survival instincts kick in and felt like I had to run for my life. Run upstairs like a flash of lightning. Be too scared to go back into the basement for a few days. Here's another. Sometimes would hear loud banging from the basement. At first tell myself it's just the pipes because the house is old. But if it's pipes, then why don't I hear the banging more often when the furnace, water heater, or whatever is running? Then tell myself it's just rats knocking things over. But if it's rats, then why haven't I seen droppings or signs of them in the kitchen or storage? Rats also can't keep a rhythm. Decide to spy on the basement through the laundry chute. It sounds like the dryer door is being opened and slammed shut repetitively. But there's no light, so clearly no one is downstairs.
Trying to find
the
a
dryer isn't on
gradient.
because I don't hear its electric humming, and it wasn't laundry day. The banging goes on for 2 to 3 minutes before stopping. One more recurring thing. Develop the habit of staying up all night during the summer. Be up playing video games until dawn and then sleep.
Shit.
Sometimes
They
I
got word
randomly
bubbles
smell
here,
the strong
too.
scent of a cigar in the middle of the night in my room.
I've never really
No one in
bothered
my
to like
family
look
smokes, let
through
alone
all
would
of
smoke a
this.
cigar. No one is up, so no one lit a candle or anything that would smell like a cigar. Hadn't been around anyone who did smoke cigars, so it's not the scent was stuck to the fabric on my clothes. A few times I'd check outside just to make sure the neighbor wasn't up smoking one in case it was coming through the window. The scent would be around for a little bit and then disappear. I was always the only one who could smell it, and it would only be in my room. I've signed then moved out of the house and moved across the country. Yet, I sometimes still smell a lit cigar randomly even though I'm in a totally different, newer house. The smell seems to only happen in the evenings or night, and I'm still the only one who ever smells it. I'll even ask people around me
shit,
if they
and they have
smell anything when it
backgrounds,
happens,
too.
and they always say no.
Be me. 15. Have 3 friends over one night. Playing video, eating pizza, drinking beers, and smoking weed. We decide to go for a walk to get snacks because we stoned. It's not too late, so shops will be open. We decide to explore underneath this bridge where drain water comes through. We get under the bridge and are hanging out acting like dumbasses playing with old graffiti cans. I look up and I vividly remember this. The bridge was about 4 to 8 meters above the drains. It's dark, but I can see him. There's a man hanging from a rope. He's dead. My heart skips a beat and I begin internally freaking out. I swear to God he's dead, but his eyes are looking right at me. He's pale, wearing a suit, and just hanging from under the bridge. Dude, what the hell? My friends notice I'm looking at the body and freak out. It gets really eerie under that bridge. The water drain doesn't get any light from the road, and it's basically pitch black 6 feet ahead of you in all directions. We book it. We didn't even get snacks, we just ran all the way home. Back at mine, we're just in my room talking quietly even though we're home alone. I've never been so shaken up in my life. Never seen a dead body before. One friend broke down crying and called his mom to get picked up and go home. The 3 of us can't sleep, so we stay up all night watching dumb comedies until we pass out. Next morning we eat breakfast and decide to head back and call the police. We walk to the bridge and go under it again. The body is gone. Weirdest part though was that there wasn't anything on the news about it. No missing persons, no dead bodies, no crimes reported. It's like it never happened. I never mentioned it to my parents, but I wish I did. I was just so scared though. I still have dreams where I'm walking late at night and I find his body again. I hate these dreams. I always see him in my dreams.
I have 3 that have to do with lights and ghost things. The first one had just turned the lights off to go to sleep in my room with my ex. I look at the ceiling and there's a glowing white light on the light. The light bulb was one of those upside down dome things, and no, it wasn't the light that I had turned off, but it was near it, just not in the spot. I started screaming and ran to turn my light on, and didn't sleep in the dark for a few months after that. Next occurrence was the next year. I kept seeing these weird green lights shining through my blinds. They were almost like a laser pointer, but not clean dots, just a glob of lights. When I looked outside, I didn't see anything, and whenever I called my roommate, and it would disappear as soon as he opened the door. One time my GF saw it though and was freaked out as well. Someone on the floor above us jumped off the balcony and self-ended that year. My roommate also got sleep paralysis and saw a gas mask. Mad scientist entity. And I also saw an Egyptian masked entity and sleep paralysis there. Bad juju all the way around. The last one was the scariest. It was a week after my brother died. I was staying at my GF's apartment since he died in my house and I couldn't stay there anymore. I woke up to the feeling of something's presence. I opened my eyes and this floating hand with a red light coming from its palm was hovering over my asleep GF. Inches from her face, like it was going to do something to her. I'm getting goosebumps typing this one because of how scary it was, bros. As soon as it saw me, it withered away and disappeared. Here's another 2 that occurred at different times.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Oh, hello? Whoops. Hello? Okay. All right, I gotta go help my mom with some dinner preparation, so I shall be back later. I feel like we're getting... This is getting pretty... I don't know, like I think it might start getting a little too busy with all the effects I'm putting in there. But, I'll come back to it later. Anyway, I'm I'm sorry, Tasco, but I'll jump on after I'm done helping my mom. But I'm having some fun, like discovering these like new like fucking filters and stuff. This is really cool. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for participating in chat for all those who did. As always, my lovely moderator Melody, Sean Soar, and Dasco Draws. I'm sorry, Dasco. But we'll jump back on later. And like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell, donate if you wish, or share my links around. That'd be like fucking awesome. Until next time, this has been Johnston Blackhorse, the one and only, and I shall check y'all later. Sweet. Bye.